Hey, what's up? Finally got around to doing this video, and it has been a challenge to do a video today. Cause first I woke up with, I guess what they call a prick in your neck. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but you know when you wake up and this part of your neck is all stiff and it hurts. That bothered me for the first part of the day, and then the second part of the day, my body decides to give me a headache, which is not quite migraine level, but it's not something you can ignore either. So that was a pain in the neck. But I still want to get through my videos because I have to do some sewing tomorrow and Thursday, so I don't think I'll be able to do another video until Friday, so I got a bunch to get through. I'm going to talk about Real Housewives of Atlanta first, and the last episode I saw, it started out with Candy meeting Don Juan, and she's discussing how she's happy to have her own new studio space and slash office space, and I kept on noticing this bright pink chair that Don Juan was sitting in, and it's not a bad chair. I like it for a teenage girl's room, but I don't like it for a office or studio. It just maybe if it wasn't vinyl looking, if it was more like micro suede or even leather, but I don't think you could even get a leather that bright. But it's just a fact. I just feel like people sit on it and then they have to peel themselves up out of it. But anyways, aside from that, she's talking to Don Juan about how Miss Joyce feels about Todd, and surprise, surprise, Don agrees with Miss Joyce. And you know what they say about if you hear the same thing from two separate sources, that you might have to look at it and see if there's some truth to it. But I mean, I don't know Candy's track record as far as how she acts when she's in a relationship. Besides that one season with the guy that had all the kids, I can't remember his name, the one that unfortunately got shot outside of a club. But excuse me. I think everyone's afraid of her getting petered like Cynthia. And I don't think she is as malleable, we'll call it that, as Cynthia. And I think they're afraid that Todd's going to get a hold of her money and start making poor business decisions the way Peter does Cynthia. So I don't see Candy falling for that, though. Oh, in her talking head, she had this ombre hair, and it was like reddish at the bottom, and I thought that looked nice. And then it made me think about how many times during Love and Hip Hop, K Michelle changed her hair in the Talking Heads, and I feel like she had 6 or 7 different hairstyles. And I want to see if Candy can catch up to her and have just as many different hairstyles in the Talking Heads. So then we catch up with Greg and Nene, and Greg is trying to get Nene to get up and help him clean the house. And Nene says, Greg is not Cordell, and he knew when he married me that I was not Molly the Maid, which tickled me inside because I don't know where this saying Molly the Maid came from, but I first heard it on Love and Hip Hop when Jocelyn called Mimi that, and now I'm hearing it here, and I'm wondering, is this a common phrase or is this something that's, well, both of those shows was they were in Atlanta, so maybe it's an Atlanta phrase. Somebody let me know if that's a common phrase, because I've never heard a Molly Maid until those two shows. And oh yeah, she gets on the phone. She's talking to either her agent or her manager. I'm thinking more so agent probably. Um, and she's talking about her future with Glee because she knows the new normal is canceled, and he tells her they've pushed back the filming, or at least her part of the filming of Glee. So she's thinking about where her career is going to take her next, and I want to see her in more things. Like, she has charisma, you have to admit that, and I'd love to see her do like one of those Tyler Perry movies or a TD Jakes movie. I feel like she would fit right in with the other actors. Then we get back to Cynthia and Peter, and when Cynthia's doing her talking head, my husband pipes up and says, "Whoever is doing the double stick tape deserves a medal, because those aren't popping out." And I'm thinking in his head, he must be thinking, "Come on, Diddy, come on, Diddy." That's a damn shame. But I know he never has a shot with Cynthia, so I can't even bother with being jealous. Um, what else? Oh yeah, so Peter is not as supportive as he should be, as always, and you know he continues to be Peter. So that's that. We go on to Portia getting her delivery from Cordell. The movers pull up and they have a bunch of boxes, and either Cordell can't spell or the movers he hired can't spell because they're filled with cloths instead of clothes. And even Portia notices this, and we know she's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. Then she talks about how he used to like to dress her like a Barbie doll, which is pretty interesting. It's questionable, and you know how they keep bringing up this whole gay thing with Cordell, but that is kind of questionable, because I could go right now into the living room and tell my husband stop playing. What would he play right now? He's playing GTA 5. I think he's almost finished with that one. I think he said he was done with that and start another one. But anyways, I go in there and tell him to stop playing his video game and ask him what's the difference between a dress and a skirt, and he couldn't tell me. And the only reason why he knew about the double stick tape thing is because I told him, because he asked how does the dress stay on her without it coming off, and I said they use double stick tape, so he knows about that. But other than that, he's not well versed in women's clothes. So anyhow, I'm off on a tangent again. Oh yeah, she takes another pot shot at him and calls McQueen woman to woman. That's a nice one. Kenya is still talking about her non-eviction, and I don't care. I did like the interaction between her friend and her. I thought they were kind of funny, and I also like how her friend, he seems more natural, unlike Derek J or Miss Lawrence, who they come off as what I used to call accessory gays. Why would you want to be an accessory gay? You just want to be, the friend just so this woman can say, oh, I have a gay friend, because there are women that are like that. They just want, I've even had an ex-friend say to me, oh, I need to go get an accessory gay just so I can have one, as though they were an object rather than a person. That's problematic, and I don't know why you would turn yourself into that object. But the friend that was with Kenya seemed a little bit more genuine. He might be as crazy as she is, but at least he didn't seem like, oh, I'm just here to be, an accessory. What else happened? Oh yeah, I found out the landlord's name is Kanya, and at first I really wanted to believe that Kanya was like an alter ego or figment of Kenya's imagination, or like like she split personalities and decided Kanya was one person and Kenya was another person, until they actually showed her, and we saw Kanya, and she kind of looked like Tandy Newton, like if Tandy Newton was 20 years older, but she looked a lot like Tandy Newton. Then we go to Phaedra and Apollo and the kids, and they are doing a photo shoot, a family photo shoot, and Apollo's not all excited about it, and I can understand why, because he probably remembers, he's probably still getting ragged on for the pickle incident. Now, if I took pictures like that, with even being a female, taking pictures with a pickle like that, it's just, I don't know why she would even think that was a good idea. There's nothing good about that idea at all, unless you're a comedian and you're trying to look funny. But he's probably salty about the pickle incident, and he doesn't want to take more family photos, and I can't blame him. And then we go back to Candy, and she has Riley sweeping the basketball court, which is great, because I love that she still makes her have chores, even though she could afford to have somebody do that. It's good for Riley to have that responsibility. And also it's good for that Candy's teaching her to appreciate things, because I noticed that the basketball she had was pretty old and worn out. And a lot of people... Oh, somebody's calling me on... Hold on. Hi. I'm doing a YouTube video right now. You're kind of... No, not a makeup tutorial. I'm talking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You want me to turn you towards the camera? You want to say hi?
Hi, camera.
No, I'm going to turn you so I can see you on the camera. Now say hi.
Hi.
So I'm going to post a video so you can see when you're in the video. But let me call you back. Let me call you back as soon as I finish this video.
Okay.
All right. Bye. Okay, now where was I? Riley's old basketball. Okay, so Candy starts talking to Riley about how she feels about Todd, and Riley kind of freaks me out a little bit because she starts talking in a really monotone voice, very slowly, and it reminded me of Joe Budden. And then I started really listening to her, and it's like she looks 14, but when she speaks, she sounds 4 or 5 years old. It's just something about the way she speaks. It doesn't sound like the way children her age normally sound. So I don't know what that's about. Maybe she's trying to memorize what her mom told her to say, or maybe she's very guarded in what she wants to say in front of the camera. But something doesn't sound right when she's talking. And also, I noticed her hair, and she's got the same ombre. Is it ombre or ombre? Ombre. I think it's ombre. She's got the same ombre weave that her mother has, except hers looks a hot mess. And I feel like if the child is not old enough to maintain a hairstyle themselves, then you probably shouldn't put that on them because it's just gonna look like hell a week later. And I'm perfect example. I remember in 7th grade, my mother let a friend of hers cut my hair like pebbles in the girlfriend video where you have the bangs coming all the way forward, all the way around, and it's longer, and that lasted about 3 days before I couldn't do anything with it, and it just looked like a bad mullet until I grew it out because I was 11 years old. That's not old enough to maintain that. But Candy could do other things with the little girl's hair. I remember about a year later, my grandmother used to pay this girl $25 a week to come. The girl would come and wash my hair. She would dry it, press it, and then roll it and roller set it. So basically a press and curl. And I wore that for almost a good year. And that was easy to maintain because I knew at that age how to put my hair back up in the rollers and put on a stocking cap. And let me know if you remember a stocking cap where you actually take pantyhose and you put it on your head, and then you take the legs of the pantyhose and wrap it around and then tie it in the back. That's old school stuff right there. That was before the silk handkerchiefs. I just had to think about that. I don't even think people do that anymore? No, because you can get the little bonnets and things for like $1.99 at the hair supply store. So anyways, Cynthia gets out of the hospital, and Peter half-assed helps her up the stairs and then tells her that he's going to get her some soup when really her mother's down there making the soup, and the mother comes up and brings the soup. And then Cynthia asks her mother to leave the room so she could talk privately to Peter. And all Peter's concerned about is how soon they can start having sex again, because that's what's important. Not your wife recovering well from an invasive surgery. It's when you can get your tip wet. That's what's important. And again, Peter keeps being a Peter. What else? Candy goes to meet Portia because she feels for her and she really wants her to be happy, because Candy's that type of friend, which we've seen that in the past, that Candy's a very caring person. And I noticed when Portia is unpacking her stuff that I have the same blender that she has. My grandmother gave it to me for Christmas. It's the Montel Williams blender that comes with the booklet, all these different smoothies and shakes and ice cream that I've never used that blender to make. One day I'm going to get around to looking through those recipes and actually trying that, but not yet. What else? I got sidetracked again. Oh, Candy throws some more shade at Cordell, saying that some guys like to lash out in a bitchy way. Then Candy asks Portia, has he ever hit you? And Portia takes the longest pause in the world and then says no. And I can't believe her. I don't think anybody believes her. Maybe she is not counting getting choked or throttled, because some women, they try to be really literal like that. Like, oh no, he never hit me. He just shook me by the neck a couple times and wake me up. No, I don't believe her. And Portia starts talking about how upsetting her divorce is and all this and that. But the thing about it is, I almost feel like she's not as upset about actually getting divorced as how it will look to other people. To me, it just comes off like, I don't want other people to look at me in a negative light more than I miss this relationship or I'm upset that it didn't work out. That's the feeling I get from it. Candy tells her something nice. She says that it can't rain forever and that the sun will come out I almost started to say tomorrow. Because when she said that, I immediately thought about Little Orphan Annie in that song, The Sun Will Come Out Tomorrow. I don't know, that was in my head. Then they noticed that um, in the box of the toys, or the bedroom candy that Candy gave to Portia, not all the toys are in the box, and they both noticed that Cordell kept some of the toys. And the box that they're holding has these strung together balls that he kept, and they keep saying, oh, he kept the balls, he kept the balls. That's his thing, I guess. Then we go back to Kenya's house, and her and her friend find an extra box, and it has a wedding dress in it. So, of course, Kenya puts on the wedding dress, because that's completely reasonable. And he starts making a beat on the wall, and she starts twirling around. And the scene is actually funny if it wasn't for her being in someone else's wedding dress. Like, if she was just twirling by herself and he was making a beat on the wall, I would have just laughed at that. But I couldn't fully laugh at it knowing that she's doing that to someone else's wedding dress, which is not cool. So, her friend says, you are mentally disturbed. And I'm like, score one for Captain Obvious. Yes, she is mentally disturbed. Now, Kanya, the landlord, has nothing better to do than to call the cops on Kenya, who already has everything boxed up and is obviously moving out of the house. But I guess she's not moving fast enough for Kanya, because 3 o'clock is 3 o'clock, and if she moves out at 3:15, I'm just gonna have a complete heart attack because my world will end. Or she just wants to be on camera being bitchy. But anyways, they play the 911 call and ask Kanya to describe Kenya. And Kenya describes her as being black, medium build, with weaves and contacts. Kanya, you're just being like, I think everybody was on your side with the rent situation, because Kenya did lie and say that she bought the place and it came out that she didn't buy it, that she was renting it. So I think everybody was on your side with that. But when you pulled this stunt, I think we have nothing more to do or no choice but to kind of believe Kenya a little bit that you are crazy. Because that was just hateful and spiteful, for one, for you to call the police on someone who's already moving out, and two, to sit there and say that she has weaves and contact lenses, when this girl's eyes have been the same color since everyone met her 20, 30 years ago, whenever we first saw her. So that was hateful. And then the hair thing, too. I truly believe that's her own hair. And the reason why I believe it's her own hair is because there's a gang of women in my family that have hair just like her. It's thicker hair, it's relaxed, and it looks just like Kenya's hair. And some of them have it longer, some of them have it shorter, but my own sister, my middle sister, her hair looks like that when she wears it straight. It looks nice, and people just automatically assume, oh, that's a weave. And in the past, I haven't so much lately, since I've been I've been natural my whole life, but I used to flat iron my hair a lot, so people thought that I wasn't natural because I always wore my hair straight. But there were times where people will walk up and say, oh, is that your hair? Or do you have pieces in the back? And it's like, no, this is my hair, grew out of my head. And the contact things too. Matter of fact, somebody put a comment on one of my videos last year, you need to take the contacts out. I don't know where these people grow up where they don't believe, or they've never seen a black person with hazel eyes or green eyes or blue eyes. There's plenty of people with different color eyes. And it shouldn't come as a surprise. I mean, you see Rihanna. You see, who else? Erykah Badu. Eric Sermon from EPMD. There's plenty of people that have lighter eyes. The guy with the dreadlocks that was in the Janet Jackson video, but then I think he was on CSI. Can't remember his name. I want to say Michael Ealy. I might be mistaken, but yeah. There's plenty of us that don't have your standard dark brown eyes, and don't automatically sit there and assume, oh, this person has contacts just because their eyes are lighter. And you can tell the difference between someone who's wearing contacts and someone who's not. Perfect example, look at Kenya's eyes. Now go and look at, another person I should have mentioned that has lighter eyes, that I mean, to me, they look completely natural. They don't look like contacts to me. And that's Yandy on Love and Hip Hop New York. Her eyes look completely, and also her baby came out with the same eyes. And obviously, you can't put contacts in a baby's eyes unless you're crazy. But anyways, aside from that little rant about the fake eyes and the hair thing, that was just hateful and spiteful. And she knows that she's a damn liar if she thinks that anything is fake except for her boobs. The boobs, they might be questionable, and she might have, I don't know what's up with the booty. I don't know if she always had the booty, because in pageants, I just remember her in gowns. I don't remember the swimsuit competition, so I don't know if she always had the booty. She might have gotten implants or injections or something, but I just know the face and the hair has been the same for the last 25, 30 years. So I don't know where they're getting off with that. So anyways, that's all I have to say about Basketball Wives. So see ya.